Hare Krishna. Shall we begin?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Everybody? Anybody? You send me a message, affirmation? Yes, begin. Can hear me, can see me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sadar Charan Bandan, Drinvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pradam, Prabhuji.
Any thumbs up sign, something?
Hare Krishna,
Can
Prabhuji.
see me, can hear me. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We're going to discuss about Srivas Thakur today, his appearance day coming up in a few days' time, Wednesday. So this morning we're discussing Srivas Thakur, the dearmost associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we'll sing. Let's sing a song. Let's sing a song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The song is called Gurudev. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur will sing this song. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagurajatam Shahagana Raganatam Vitang Tang Shiji Ibam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shibishakam Vitangscha Mantra Guru Ajota Shikha Gurugan Ta Chorene Age Koriya Bandhan Vanshakapa Trubhishta Kripashanda Beba Cha Patitanam Pavaneba Vaishnaveva Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shandavari Pashtatta Deshatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Kodo Eda Shetrna Peka Otihina Shakala Shahane Bala Diya Kodo Shakala Shahane Bala Diya Kodo Nija Manesh Priyahina Nija Manesh Priyahina Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Kodo Eda Setrana Peka Otihina Shakala Shaman Kodite Shokati Dehonata Jata Jata Tobe to gaibo Hari Nam Shukhe Tobe to gaibo Hari Nam Shukhe aparada hobe hata. Gurudev kripa bindu diya koro eda shetrana pekatina. Kopeheno kripala biya jana krutata hoy binnata. Shakti bodhihina ami ati dina. Ha Shakti bodhihina ami ati dina. Kodamore atmashata. Kodamore atmashata. Gurudev kripa bindu diya koro eda shetana pekatina. Jagyat bicha kichu nahi pai tumhara koruna shara. Kodanana hoile kandiya kandiya. Ha kodanana hoile kandiya kandiya. Pranana raki bhoado. Pranana raki bhoado. Gurudev kripa bindu diya koda eda setrana pekatina. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ajayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashto Tadasharshi Srimad Srila Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, ISKCON Pratishtata Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. Sri Sri Nitai Gaur Shidanath Brahmanande Hari Hari Bol. In various places in both the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, the glories of Srila Srivas Thakur are described. In the in the 10th chapter of Adi Lila, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is describing the different branches of the tree, the tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spreading of Krishna consciousness, he mentions there that the four brothers, Srivas, Sri Ram, Sripati and Srinidhi. Char by Dash and Dashi Griha Porika, the four brothers, Dash and Dashi, and all of their staff members, the four brothers and their servants and maidservants are a big branch. Griha Porika, they're a big branch. All the family, the whole family of Srivas Thakur are considered a branch of the Chaitanya tree. Now, Srivas Thakur, he's older than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's not quite as old as Advaita Acharya. You could say Advaita Acharya is like the grandfather, like the age of Jagannath Mishra's father. He has a grey beard, long grey hair. Advaita Acharya, very senior Vaishnav in Navadip. And Srivas Thakur, he's also senior. He's around about the age of Jagannath Mishra Mahashai. So Srivas, like he's senior, and Mahaprabhu is respecting him. Now, when, as we've been discussing in these sessions on previous occasions, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled to Gaya Dham, and there, upon meeting Ishwara Puri Prabhupada and upon seeing the lotus feet of Madhusudan in the holy place, the Tirthasthana of Gaya Dham, then Sarva Jagater Bhagye Sri Gauda Chandra Prem Bhakti Prakashe Korila Aramba. He began his pastimes of demonstrating Prema Bhakti, love of God, love of Krishna. And upon returning to Mayapur, then there was great astonishment amongst the devotees. Actually, the first encounter was at the house of Srivas Thakur when Srivas Thakur, there's one Ekunda Gachache Srivas Mondire, Ekunda Gachache Srivas Mondire, there's one Kunda, tree, bush, Ekunda Gachache Srivas Mondire, Kunda Rupa Kiva Kalpatoru Avatare, in the form of a Kunda tree, that's a jasmine tree. Kiva Kalpatoru Avatare, it's actually a spiritual, a tree from the spiritual world, Kalpataru, a desire-fulfilling tree from the spiritual world. That was in the courtyard of Srivas Thakur. Just try to understand the type of personality that the Kalpataru, the Kalpabrikshas from the spiritual world, they desire to appear in his garden, in Srivas Hangan. So all of the associates of Mahaprabhu, they're all doing puja, they're all actually Brahmins, they're all Brahmins, Jagannath Mishra, Srivas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, Gaura Pandit, Bakrasha Pandit, they're all Brahmins and they're all worshipping deities. And so in the morning they would all gather in the courtyard of Srivas Thakur, and there they would discuss the latest news of Krishna consciousness. Now, in those days there was no Facebook, so people weren't every day posting the details of every detail of their life, like what they had for breakfast and etc. In those days there was not such things, so people would they would meet with each other. Is that rather extraordinary in modern times, that people would actually meet with each other in person, and they would discuss Krishna Katha. So that morning Srivas Thakur's younger brother Sri Ram, he came into the assembly of the devotees. They were all gathered around that kunda tree picking flowers for the puja, and he was so joyful, he was so he was brimming effervescence with joy. And the devotees inquired, "Wow, what's the news? You're so joyful today." And Sri Ram replied, "Yes, certainly there is a most amazing news. Parama Adbhut Kotha Maha Ashambhab. The impossible has happened. Parama Adbhut Kotha, the most amazing news. Nimai Pandit Hoilu Parama Vaishnav. Nimai Pandit has become a great Vaishnav." So that was Sri Ram who broke the news to the Vaishnava assembly in the courtyard of Srivas Thakur. And then gradually the devotees, it became known, the news quickly spread all around Navadip, that that Pada Pada Tirta Layite Matronam Nayane Jole Shopunno Hoilostan. That just by hearing the name Pada Pada Tirta, just by Pada Pada Tirta Layite Matronam, just by hearing the name of Gayadam, Pada Pada Tirta. Nayanera Jole, the tears from his eyes. Nayanera Jole Shopunno Hoilostan. The whole weather, the whole place was flooded with tears of love of God from his eyes just by hearing the name Pada Tirtha. So naturally this news quickly spread all over Navadip that Nimai Pandit has become a great Vaishnava. Now Sachi Devi, she was rather perplexed by her son's behavior. He laughs, he cries, he falls down unconscious. He speaks to himself, he calls out loudly saying, "Break the heads of the atheists." Sometimes he climbs the tree and climbs out onto the extreme branches and then suddenly falls down onto the ground, grinding his teeth. These are the extraordinary symptoms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu whilst he's trying to deal with the love of God. Just like we were mentioning that at that moment that Sarva Jagatar Bhagya Sri Gaura Chandra Prem Bhakti Prakasha Korila Aramba, that Prem Bhakti Prakasha, manifestation of love of God, erupted in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As he mentioned too, he returned to Ishwara Puri Prabhupada and he mentioned Kiba Mantra Dilo Gosha Kibatat Ball Jopate Jopati Mantra Karyale Pagal. What mantra have you given me, O spiritual master Swami? Kiba Mantra Dilo Gosha Kibatat Ball. What is its power? Jopati Jopati Mantra Karyale Pagal. Chanting the mantra Karyale Pagal, I've become mad. So it's not that was just that one afternoon. Mahaprabhu was initiated and he felt overwhelmed with love of God that afternoon. No, once such a thing awakens, like the sunrise. The sun arises, then there's brilliant sunshine. It doesn't again go away. So we can conclude that Mahaprabhu was constantly in a state of ecstasy and prema and love of God, and he was just trying to contain himself. So in trying to deal with these overwhelming feelings, this is Bhakti Yoga. This is why we chant Hare Krishna. Actually, Kiba Mantra Dilo Goshai, Mahaprabhu inquired from Ishwara Puri Prabhupada, his guru. This is why we accept the guru. This is why we accept the guru. In order to be able to get authoritative, conclusive instruction, just like we were discussing in the case of Gaura Pandit, and he'd come with Mukunda Datta, and they were standing in front of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadaya, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadaya, they become overwhelmed. He fell off the asan, he's overwhelmed the love of God for 6 hours in a state of samadhi. And whilst he was lying there in an unconscious state, Srila Gaura Pandit explained that Eipate Pravishta Jota Bhaktagan Upadeshta Abhashai Koren Ekjon. A very significant statement he makes there. Eipate Pravishta Jota Bhaktagan. All of the devotees who are on this path, Eipate Pravishta Jota Bhaktagan, all the devotees who are on the path of Bhagavad Bhakti, Upadeshta means an instructor. Upadeshta Abhashayik or an Ekjon. Upadeshta Abhashayik or an Ekjon. Certainly they accept one person as their ultimate instructing spiritual master. And Gaura Pandit was explaining that up to this point I have not accepted that this person. So this is required. It's an essential component of progress in spiritual life, that one requires a spiritual master in one's life who one has complete faith in, complete trust in, that the advice this person gives me is as good as advice I would get from Krishna himself. That's the importance of accepting a spiritual master. That's the necessity, the requirement, because without that, then how will we actually know what to do in a conclusive way? How will we be able to completely give our life to Krishna's mission and surrender to Krishna if we're not really sure we're doing what Krishna wants or not? So that's an essential component, and the spiritual master provides this. Now in ISKCON, Jota, we have many instructors. Mantra Guru, Jota Shika Guru Gon, Ta Chodane Age Kore Abandon, and they're equally important. But Gaura Pandit, he says, Upadeshta Abhashai Koren Ekchon, that one person there may be some difference in instructions. So there needs to be one person who we completely reposed our faith in, that yes, I will surrender. That person is, ideally that person is the Diksha Guru, ideally. And if one is in a situation like that, where he has access to their Diksha Guru, and the Diksha Guru gives instructions at key moments in one's life, then that's one's very fortunate. Acharya Javan Purusho Veda. Brahmanda Brahmatikon Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripai Pai Bhakti Lord Kona Bhagyavan, a very fortunate soul to be able to take shelter of an authorized, a bona fide spiritual master who can actually represent Krishna and give one's instruction on behalf of Krishna. So Mahaprabhu, he inquired from Srila Ishwarpuri Prabhupada that Kiba mantra dila, what mantra have you given me? Kibatal ball, what is its power? And Ishwarpuri Prabhupada, he replied that Hare Krishna Mahamantra Jaito Shabhav Jai Jope Tare Krishna Upajai Bhav. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Jaito Shabhav, the very essence, the very constitution, Etos Shabhav, the very constitution of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Jai Jope, whoever chants Tare Krishna Upajai Bhav, they will awaken Krishna Upajaya Bhav. They will awaken genuine feelings of love for Krishna. So this is why we're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is why we rise early, we take the Japamala, we chant the rounds. This is why we do this, because we're trying to awaken the dormant love of Krishna. It's already there in the heart. In fact, it's the default setting. The default setting of the jiva is to be completely absorbed in Krishna and loving Krishna. And that's the default setting. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Shaddha Kabunai, Shravanadi, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem. The living entity is eternally the servant of Krishna and the lover of Krishna. But that love of Krishna has become polluted by association with the material energy. Krishna Bully, when Sanatana Goswami inquired from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why am I suffering in this world? He explained that the root cause of all suffering is forgetfulness of Krishna. We forget our relationship with Krishna. Krishna Bhuli, Shai Jiva, Anadiyar Bahirmukha, and we become attached to the external energy. That's why we're so addicted to the material world and the material sense enjoyment, because it's a perversion of our our love for Krishna. And our propensity to serve Krishna has become transferred to the external energy of Krishna. But still the serving and loving and absorption is there, but unfortunately it's reposed in the external energy of Krishna, like the shadow potency. It appears somewhat like the reality, but it's the Mayeva Yasha Bhuvanani Biba, Mayeva Yasha Bhuvana, Ichchan Rupam Abhiyasha Chichesha, Mayeva Yasha Bhuvanani Bibati Durga, Ichchan Rupam Abhiyasha. Chayeva Yasha Bhuvanani Vibhati Durga, Chaya, like a shadow. This material energy like a shadow of the reality. So because of forgetfulness of the actual reality and loving Krishna, then we become attached to the external energy. And Krishna Buli Shai Jiva Anadiyar Bahirmukha Anadiyar Bahirmukha. We become attached to the external and Bahiram, the external, not the internal, external energy of Krishna. Bahirmukha. Ata eva maya tare deva shangsha dukha. And for that reason we suffer. The more we're attached to material sense enjoyment, the more we suffer. Actually, because we're dependent on the material sense enjoyment, and the more that we suffer, the reverses, they're always there, every step. No matter what situation you're in this world, there's always reverses. Nothing works out the way you want it to. Everything falls short. And along with the good, there's so much suffering that has to be accepted. Tripyanti neha boh dukkha bhajai, Prahlad explains in this material world, Tripyanti neha, you never really get the satisfaction you're desiring. Tripyanti neha boh dukkha bhajai, and you have to accept so much trouble just to get a little bit of suffering, a little bit of happiness. And mai tunadi grihamani shukam hitucham. It's such limited, limited happiness at a big cost. So therefore, the real intelligent person, fortunate person, they try to derive their happiness from the spiritual, from connection. Brahma Joga Juktatma Shukamakaya Mashnute. Gita, 5th chapter, Krishna explains, Brahma Joga Juktatma. When one connects to the Supreme, Brahma Joga Juktatma, through Bhakti Yoga, Shukam Akaya Mashnute, he enjoys unlimited happiness, just like chanting Hare Krishna. We don't have to keep changing the mantra. We just chant the same 3 words, Hare Krishna Rama. That it gives so much nectar, and the more we chant, the more nectar we experience. Bishai Chariya Shai Roshe Majiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari. Lochandas Thakur explains that Shai Roshe Majiya, entering into that taste, Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari, of chanting the holy name. Bishai Chariya, one loses one's attachment to the sense enjoyment. It goes away. One no longer enjoys. One no longer enjoys. One no longer enjoys. So Mahaprabhu, he inquired from Srila Ishwarpuri, and Srila Ishwarpuri explained the very nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we should be clear on why we're chanting Hare Krishna. It's not just to get to the end of the mala. I've completed my rounds. I've completed. We get to the end. We're chanting, and we begin the round. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And then we're just thinking, oh, maybe I'm halfway through. Maybe I can check, yeah, about halfway through. Keep going. Oh, maybe I'm 3/4 of the way through. Yeah. Oh, keep going. Oh, maybe there's only a few mantras left. Yes, let me check. Yeah, I can feel it. Hare Krishna, Hare, we get to the end. Completed one mantra. Completed one round. The idea is not to finish the rounds. It's not how I finish my rounds, put the beads down. I finished my rounds, can relax or can enjoy for the rest of the day. No more tension. I finished my rounds. Actually, the purpose is not to finish the rounds. The purpose is to awaken dormant love of God. So whatever, whether you chant a lot of rounds or whether you chant less rounds, the purpose is the rounds should be quality rounds. We should be hearing the holy name in order to awaken love of God. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Korayo Udai, in that same verse Mahaprabhu is explaining, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Saddha Kabunai, eternal love of God, pure love of God is the eternal constitution of the jiva, the eternal property of the jiva. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte, by hearing, based principally by hearing. Shravanadi means principally by hearing. Shravanadi. On the basis of hearing, Shrabon Adi, beginning with hearing, primarily by hearing, Shrabon Adi, Shuddha Chitte, the heart becomes pure, Shuddha Chitte. Chitte is the heart becomes pure, Shrabon Adi, primarily by hearing, Shrabon Adi, Shuddha Chitte, Gorayo Udoi, and then the dormant love, it again erupts, it again awakens. So Mahaprabhu, his love of Godhead had awakened. Of course, he's God, but he's demonstrating the life of a devotee. So these are the symptoms: grinding of his teeth, falling on the ground, speaking to himself, calling out, laughing, crying, falling down unconscious. So being perplexed by this behavior, Sachi Devi, she approached Srila Srivas Thakur to inquire from him that, because Srivas Thakur, different people were advising her. Some said that you have to give him dabe jol, that's coconut water. Coconut water will cool him down. He has a disease of the disturbed vata. So you have to have coconut water. And others are saying, oh, you foolish lady, simple coconut water will not cure him. You have to give him Shiva ghee and massage it on his head, and then he takes a bath. Shiva ghee, who knows? No one even knows what is Shiva ghee these days. You can't even find it now, some special type of Ayurvedic. So then Sachi Devi, she approached Srivas Thakur to inquire from him, having great faith in the character of Srivas Thakur. She approached him and she brought Srivas Thakur to home and to see Vishwambar. So when Lord Chaitanya Vishwambar, when he saw Srivas Thakur coming, the feelings of love of Godhead again erupted just by seeing the Vaishnav. Actually, Bhakti Deki Prabhu Badailo Bhakti Bhav. Bhakti Deki, seeing a devotee, Prabhu Badailo Bhakti Bhav. Prabhu's bhav, his emotions, they Badailo, they erupted, they expanded, they increased. Loma Harsha Asru Pata Kampa Anurag. And all of these symptoms are erupting in his body, the hair standing on end, the shivering, the crying, the shaking, falling down unconscious. When he saw Srivas Thakur come into the courtyard and then circumambulate the tulasi, the tulasi tree in the courtyard of Sachi Devi. So Srivas Thakur, he's seeing Mahaprabhu, he's seeing him there on the ground unconscious and the erupting in symptoms of love of Godhead, and he could recognize these are the symptoms of love of God. And then Mahaprabhu again came back to consciousness and he sees Srivas Thakur. Oh, it is you, Pandit. What do you make of my condition? He inquires. What disease? Some suggest I should be bound up. Some suggest I have to have massage of coconut, of Shiv ghee and drink coconut oil. What is your opinion? Srivas Thakur replied, Maha Bhakti Jogi Deki Tomar Sharire Shri Krishna Anugraha Hoilo Tomare. Certainly Shri Krishna Anugraha Hoilo Tomar. You have received so much mercy from Krishna. Maha Bhakti Jog Deki. I see the symptoms of extreme love of God. Tomar Sharire in your body. I also want this disease, Srivas Thakur explained. Now the devotees, Srivas Thakur, as we mentioned, he was a senior Vaishnava and very respected in the community of Navadip. And even before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srivas Thakur and his brothers were performing Sankirtan in their home. Actually, Srivas Thakur, his incarnation of Narad Muni, and Sri Ram, his younger brother, he's an incarnation of Parvat Muni. So they're great eternal associates of Sri Hari, and they appeared in Navadip to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve him whilst he is performing the Sankirtan Lila. Gaudangir Shangi Gone Nita Shidha Kori Mane Shejai Brajenda Bhumi Pash. Nurtam Das Thakur sings that Shri Gaudangir Shangi Gone Nita Shidha Kori Mane, respecting the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all as Nitya Shida, as eternal associates. Shri Joy Brajendra Shuta. It goes to the eternal, they attain the association of Brajendra Shuta. So even before the incarnation of Mahaprabhu, Srivas was performing the Sankirtan, and during the Vidya Lila, the childhood pastimes and the scholarly pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that extensive period, 15-year period actually, from almost 5 years to almost 20 years, Mahaprabhu was absorbed in the Vidya Lila, and at that time Srivas was performing Sankirtan, and so the local people, there were classes of people in Navadip, because Navadip was such a popular destination, being the place of scholars and pundits and learning. Chaturdik hoite log Navadipe jai, Navadipe poreshe bidda. From all directions people would come to Navadip. If you study in Navadip, you get the taste for learning. So there were scholars in Navadip, there were philosophers, there were impersonalists, there were worshippers of Babani, there were all types of persons, and they were not all appreciating the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. So they were criticizing, there were envious people who were criticizing Srivas Thakur. We cannot even sleep at night, they explained, and with all the shouting and crying. They avoid philosophy and speculative knowledge, and they simply sing and dance. One person said that they call out Krishna, Krishna, scream, and just to fill their bellies. Or how one does not attain piety by chanting Krishna's name in one's mind? Why all the chanting? Why all the loud chanting, screaming and crying? Another person said that actually that they've sent 2 boats from the capital of Bengal, that's Gaur. Now a modern day town there is called Malda. In Mahaprabhu's time it was called Gold. And there was the Nawapushan Shah, and he had his soldiers. So some person said that they're sending the soldiers down the river, down Maganga. Actually, it's easy to come downstream. Boats are coming down, and then they're going to attack anyone who's performing Sankirtan. They're going to attack us. Srivas and his associates will all get away. I said that we should throw his house into the river and destroy him and his whole livelihood, but none of you agreed with me. Now look what's happening. So Srivas Thakur at that time, he was also a little bit concerned, because this rumor had spread that the Nawab is sending troops to Mayapur in order to arrest anyone who's performing Sankirtan. So at that time, Srivas Thakur was in his temple and he was performing puja of Lord Nrsingadev. So Mahaprabhu at this time, he began to think that the devotees, they're in anxiety about performing Sankirtan, so now is the time I should reveal my actual real purpose and my real identity as the Supreme Lord. So whilst Mahaprabhu was wandering on the banks of the Ganga, he saw the cows. He saw some cows herding there. Some were chewing grass. Some were drinking the milk, mother's milk from the cud. Others were raising their tails and jumping, and others were butting each other, and other cows were lying down. Seeing this, Mahaprabhu, he became absorbed in the mood of Vrindavan. Mui Shai, I am he. Mui Shai, I am he, calling out. And then he ran from the banks of the Ganga, he ran to the house of Srivas Thakur. Actually, at the time of Mahaprabhu's appearance, Ma Ganga was closer to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace, the Jogapit, than now. You can see the different ghats when you go Pach Ghat. There's Madai Ghat and Jagai Ghat and Badakona Ghat. They're all just near Srivas Angan and Jogapit. And Ma Ganga was flowing there at that time. Now she's moved a little bit. So Mahaprabhu, he ran from the banks of Ganga to the home of Srivas Thakur and immediately came to the temple room and began kicking on the door. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kicking on the door, calling out, Kaha puja koro, kaha dhyan. Who are you worshipping? Who are you meditating on? Jaha puja kocho deko bidaman. Look, the one you are worshipping on, the one you are meditating on, look, is present here. Kicking on the door, Mahaprabhu's calling out. So Srivas Thakur, he heard Mahaprabhu. He was shocked. He stopped his puja, he came, he opened the door, he was astonished. Deki birashane boshi achin bishamba chaturbhuj shankar chakra gada padmadhar. Deki, he sees birashane boshi achin bishamba. He sees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting in the birashasana posture. With his forearms demonstrating the four items of Lord Narayan. Chaturabhuj Shankar Chakra Gada Padmada. Shankar Chakra Pada Padma Gada Da. Holding the four symptoms of Lord Vishnu. And then he's astonished, he's awestruck seeing Mahaprabhu in this way. This is the first time you could say officially Mahaprabhu intentionally displays his form as the Supreme Lord. On previous occasions in childhood play, before reaching 5 years old, Mahaprabhu just in childhood play, mote nana bhabe aisharja dekai bhallabab prakatiyo paschat lukai. Bhallabab prakatiyo. In the mood of a child, like childhood play, Goshunda would demonstrate his aisharja, his opulence, and the different miracles were performed as a child, ankle bells and the footprints in the home of Jagannath Mishra, and bewildering the thieves and demonstrating, revealing an 8-arm form to the itinerant mendicant who came and who's trying to cook, had to cook 3 times. And then the Ganga Jal Kela, he's disturbing all the Brahmins, they can't take their baths. And Jagannath Mishra goes to the Ganga to try to chastise Nimai, and he's not there. The devotees say he hasn't even come today. And Jagannath Mishra then sees Nimai coming on the path from school. So the same hair, the same dress, the ink on his limbs, hasn't even taken bath yet. He's bewildered. Putra darshanande guchilo bichar. Seeing out of great love for his son, he forgot all of the anger. Guchilo bichar. That they're completely absorbed in affection, in parental affection for Nimai. And in this way he enjoys, he avoids being chastised for his mischievous activities by demonstrating his mystic power as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his childhood. Ballabab prakatiyo, paschat lukai, but later he covers and he doesn't reveal. So after that long period now, 15-year period, Mahaprabhu now, of course, he's demonstrating the symptoms of love of God, but to actually demonstrate himself, to reveal himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is one of the first official occasions that Mahaprabhu actually does this. And then Mahaprabhu chastises Srivas that Dakiya, Prabhu, Dakiya Bolaya Prabhu, Ade Srinivas, Auto Din Na Jane Ama Prakash. Dakiya Bolaya Prabhu, he's calling out to Srivas. Ade Srinivas, he's chastising Srivas Thakur. Ade Srivas, Auto Din Na Jane Ama Prakash. For so many days you didn't recognize me? Of course, Mahaprabhu was covering his eternal identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to enhance the Lila and Navadip Dham. Now, another interesting, that's from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, what I was just reading then, but a nice story here from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, how there was one Brahman, Ek Bipranam Gopal Chapal, Prashandi Pradhan She Dunmukha Bachal. Prashandi Pradhan, the chief of the atheists. Prashandi Pradhan. But he was a Bipra, a Brahmin. Isn't that interesting? He's a Brahmin and he's the most atheistic person in Odiya. Bhavani Puja Shab Shamigrilaya, taking all of the ingredients for Bhavani Puja that's described by Prabhupada, the red flower, the plantain leaf as a banana leaf, the wine, reddish sandalwood paste. He placed all of those items. Bhavani Puja Shab Shamigrilaya Ratri Srivashe Dware Shtan Lepaya. He placed all of those ingredients outside of the door of Srivas Thakur. Now in the morning, Srivas Thakur came and immediately he sees all of those items there. Now, you could just, he's doing this because he's envious of all the respect that the common people were showing to Srivas Thakur. He's considering that, why are they not respecting me in this way? I'm a Brahmin, I'm so qualified, I'm so learned. So out of envy, he wanted to somehow or other create ill repute for Srivas Thakur, so he placed all of these ingredients for Bhavani Puja. So just see how exalted was the society of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that nowadays a person we would consider most pious, regularly worshipping Ma Durga, we would consider most religious and pious. In those days, in the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such activities would reduce one's prestige. So just try to understand how exalted and how purified and how refined was the society in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and the associates with whom he performed his pastimes. They were so exalted. So seeing it in the morning, Srivas Thakur opened his door and he saw the ingredients. Now what would we do? Let's say if someone placed the illicit ingredients, the wine and other items, the butcher material, the butchers in our door, what would we do? We'd be so ashamed and we'd immediately try to get rid of it so that no one could see. So how did Srivas Thakur respond? Srivas Thakur immediately loudly called all of the Brahmins, his neighbors in the area. He loudly called them. Nitya Ratre Kori Ami Babani Pujan Amar Mohima Deko Brahmana Sojan. O Brahmana Sojan, O assembly of Brahmins, Nitya Ratre Kori Ami Bhavani Pujan. Every night, Nitya Ratre Kori Ami Bhavani Pujan. I'm worshipping Ma Durga Bhavani every night. Amar Mohima Deko. Look at my character. Amar Mohima Deko Brahmana Sojan. Oh, great twice-born Brahman. So this is the nature of an exalted Vaishnava like Srivas Thakur. Actually, they considered themselves very low, and they're not inclined to. They're reluctant to receive respect, considering themselves unworthy and unqualified. They're reluctant to receive respect, and even in this case, Srivas Thakur, he's actually accepting an opportunity to have his prestige removed. So this is the nature of such an advanced devotee, that there's so much off the bodily platform of life that such things are tulla ninda shtuti. In Bhagavad Gita 14th chapter, Krishna is explaining that a Vaishnava, a liberated soul, tulla ninda shtuti, his tulla means equal, tulla, is equal to shtita ninda, to criticism and praise. He's not overly enamored by being praised, and he's not overly upset by being criticized, understanding that all of these perceptions are simply based upon the bodily concept of life. So he immediately announced to everyone, look, just see my character. Every night I'm worshipping Mahabhavani. So the Brahmins immediately, they could understand Srivas Thakur's humility, and understand what it has happened, that someone has tried to frame Srivas Thakur to bring ill repute upon him. And so they called for a sweeper to come and immediately clean that place. Now, a few days after that incident, Gopal Chapal, he was attacked by leprosy, and blood oozed from sores all over his body. And germs and insects were constantly biting him in those wounds, and he felt unbearable pain and burned in distress. Now, leprosy being a contagious disease, he was rejected from the society, and he had to wander here and there to make a livelihood, just begging and on the banks of the Ganga. Now, one day, Gosundar came on the banks of the Ganga to take his bath, and the Gopal Chapal, he saw Mahaprabhu, and immediately he came and he spoke that, my dear nephew, please see how greatly afflicted I am, attacked by this disease of leprosy. Log shab udarite tamar avatar. Tamar avatar, you have appeared, log shab udarite, to deliver all the people. Moi baro duki more koraho udar. I am baro duki. I am suffering so much. More koraho udar. Please deliver me. He prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this way, falling at his lotus feet. Now, Mahaprabhu's response to this prayer was very extraordinary. In great anger, he replied that, O sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I will not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by germs for millions of years. Shribashe Korila Tumi Bhavani Pujan. You tried to make it a case against Srivas Thakur that he was worshipping Mahabhavani. Shribashe Korila Tumi Bhavani Pujan. Koti Janma Hobe To Rodava Poton. Koti Janma Hobe To Rodava Poton. Koti Janma, 10 million births. Hobe To Rodava Poton, you will suffer in the hell of Rodava. You will fall down into the hell of Rodava for 10 million births. So this just goes to see how extraordinary, how dear is Srivas Thakur to Lord Chaitanya, that in this case, a person who tried to insult Srivas Thakur or tried to offend him in that way, that person became so much rejected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him to hell for 10 million births. So how exalted is Srivas Thakur, and how dear is Srivas Thakur to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how careful we have to be in associating with the dear devotees of the Lord, because if we insult them or if we hurt them, that gives pain to the Lord, and we have to suffer reactions for that. So we have to be very careful in our dealings with the Vaishnavas. So Mahaprabhu said that you will suffer for 10 million births, and then he went on and took his bath, and that was it. Gopal Chapal carried on suffering. Now, some time later, this was Mahaprabhu was a Grihastha, and he was performing the Sankirtan with Srivas Thakur, having gone to Gayadam and then returned. He was performing Sankirtan for four years, and then took sannyas. And then after taking sannyas, he traveled in South India for 2 years, and then he attempted to go to Vrindavan after 2 years, again in Puri, 2 years. So this is 8 years later. 4 years performing Sankirtan, 2 years South Indian tour, 2 years in Puri. So 8 years later, Mahaprabhu again returned to Bengal on the way to Vrindavan. Gauda hoite mor dui shamasrai janani janobi e dui doyamoy. He explained to Ramananda Roy in Ishwarpuri that in Gauda Desh I have 2 shelters, Janani Janobi. Sachi Devi and Ma Ganga, e duidoyamoy, these two are full of mercy. So I will go to Vrindavan via Bengal and take with me all the devotees from Bengal. So that was Mahaprabhu's plan. However, that didn't eventuate. He only reached as far as Kanai Natasala and then he returned. But whilst he was travelling to Kanai Natasala, Ram Kelly, in order to deliver Rupa and Sanatan, on the way, although not coming to Mayapur, Mahaprabhu travelled on the other side of the Ganga and he went through Vidyanagar and Kulia. And at that time, all of the offenders, those persons who didn't take advantage of Mahaprabhu's association when he was performing Sankirtan, as Grihasta, having taken sannyas, they all realized that how unfortunate they were, and they all crossed the Ganga and went to Vidyanagar, and there all of the offenders were delivered, and all the smartas and atheists and the academics and the students, they were all able to get the mercy of the Lord. When he returned to Navadip and stayed in Vidyanagar at the house of the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Madhusudan Vachaspati, and Gopal Chapal at that time also was delivered. So these are some glories of Srila Srivas Thakur, which we've discussed today, reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, as Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur explains that Ki bolibo Srivashe Udar Charitra. What can I say about the exalted character of Srivas Thakur? Ki bolibo Srivashe Udar Charitra Jaha Charane Duli Shangshar Pavitra. The Charane Duli, the dust of his feet, Shangshar Pavitra, it purifies the entire universe. Are there any questions on Srivas Thakur this morning?
Hare Krishna, thank you. Adidev go.
Adidev Gopesh. Question, you're muted, Adidev Gopesh. You're muted.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started, he was doing Kirtan in Srivas argument. And that time there were only few devotees were allowed. That time why was not others allowed? Why was
Because initially Mahaprabhu, the first phase of his Sankirtan Mimma, he was relishing with his his Antaranga Bhaktagan, his eternal associates. Before beginning to spread and distribute love of God freely here and there, first Mahaprabhu was relishing the Sankirtan with his intimate associates and relishing the mellows of Braja Prema with his intimate associates. So he was fully drinking that nectar of Sankirtan in association of his loving devotees. And then after doing that for 1 year, then he ordered Nityananda and Haridas Thakur to begin the preaching. And in this way, prior to that, he was enjoying in the association of intimate associates the nectar of the holy name.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay. Shall we do some Harinam, Maha Mantra, I think? How's that sound? Finish off some Harinam, Maha Mantra? Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, let's do that. I'd like to sing a little Harinam, Maha Mantra. After all, as Ishwar Puri Prabhupada explained, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Jai to Shabhav, the very nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Jai Jape, whoever chants, Tade Krishna Upajaya Bhav, awakens their dormant love of Krishna. With a Maha Mantra, Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shamaventa Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. So we'll carry on next week. We look forward to your association then. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Jai Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Very nice,
कृष्ण
wonderful.
प्रभु जी
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
प्रणाम टूटू को
Krishna Prabhuji, Thank you.